Hello students, this video lecture is prepared for particulate technology subject and I am discussing the separation of solids based on the specific properties. So in this unit 3, in last lecture we have discussed electrostatic separation and some part of the separation based on the magnetic properties. Then remaining part we will discuss in this lecture. Please wait. So the separation of solid particles based on magnetic properties. So this part I had discussed in a last lecture, and one equipment known as the magnetic head pulley. This equipment is also discussed. We have discussed in last lecture. Then another equipment which is called a magnetic drum separator. So this how the construction of the magnetic drum separator and the working is taking place. We will discuss now that. So this is the schematic figure of magnetic drum separator. So it consists of rotating drum. So this is the rotating drum incorporating the stationary magnet. So this is a stationary magnet assembly. The magnet covers approximately 165 degree towards the discharge end. So this magnet assembly covers 165 degree area of that drum. The feed is admitted from this hopper, that is called a hopper, or we can say the top, and it is allowed to fall on this drum. Then the non-magnetic particles get separated from here because they do not attach or connected to this drum, and the magnetic material, due to their magnetic properties, are adhere here, that means connected to this drum, and it will discharge when this drum does not having magnetic assembly. So at this point this drum having that magnetic assembly, but from this point there is no magnet, so here they will fall. So in this way we can separate the magnetic material and non-magnetic material. So this is called a magnetic drum separator. Then I will show the actual working of magnetic drum separator by this video. So this is actually magnetic drum separator. It contains magnetic assembly. So this material we have to separate it. So it is having magnetic and non-magnetic material. So you have to just start that drum separator assembly. Then this is the hopper. You have to feed that material here, and drop by drop this material is feed on that assembly. So this is the box which collect non-magnetic material, and so these are the called non-magnetic material. And there is another box. So this is non-magnetic material, and there is another box which is situated in that machine, under that machine, to collect the magnetic material. So this part is a collection of the magnetic material. So here they have provided one box for collection of magnetic material. So here that magnetic material lose the contact with that magnetic assembly, and here that material is collected. Okay. So in this way, this magnetic drum separator is work. Now there is another equipment that is known as ball Norton type separator. So it consists of horizontally staggered belt conveyor. So these are the belt conveyor running parallel, one above other, as shown in figure. So there are two conveyors, belt conveyors. So this belt conveyors is having top of that belt conveyor, this part is containing magnetic assembly, and this conveyor does not containing any magnetic assembly. So you have to feed that material to be separated. You have to feed from here. So this is called a hopper. Then this material will go in this direction under the first belt. Then when it reaches to that this magnetic field, the non-magnetic material is discharged from here, and the magnetic material is adhere to the lower side, so this side of the upper belt, and carry away with some distance, and it will again discharge when this magnetic assembly is over. So here we have collected the magnetic material or particles, we can say, and here the non-magnetic particles or material. So in this way we can separate the magnetic material and non-magnetic material. So this whole equipment is called a ball Norton type separator. Okay. So these are the some equipments which is used for the separation of the solid based on the magnetic properties. So here we have completed this chapter. So in the conclusion I will discuss what are the points that have been studied in last lectures. So first we have discussed the classification, then terminal velocity, definition of terminal velocity. Then we will discuss, we have discussed gravity settling tank, cone classifier, then double cone classifier, the working of all these equipments, then the rake classifier and the spiral classifier. So these are the mechanical classifiers, it is called a mechanical classifiers. Then we discussed cyclone separator. So there are two types of cyclone separator, gas and liquid cyclone separators. Then we have discussed the jigging process, which is based on the separation of the material on a specific gravity. Then we have discussed the froth flotation method. So in this method we have separated the material according to their surface properties like hydrophobic or hydrophilic. And next is the electrostatic separation. So here we have discussed the equipments which is based on the electric property of that material. That means some material is having positive charge, some material is having negative charge, and when they are entering that electrostatic field, they are gets attracted towards the opposite charges and then separated. And in the last part we have discussed the separation based on the magnetic property. So some solid material is having magnetic properties and some material is having non-magnetic properties. So the magnetic material which is having, when they enter into magnetic field, they will collected on that drum or that belt, and the non-magnetic particles are don't having any magnetic properties, so they will separate it. So in this way we have discussed how to separate the solid into different fractions depending upon their specific properties. Then I have posted one tutorial in your Google Classroom. So these are the questions of this tutorial. So first question is define classification, write the construction of cone classifier. Means we have to just define the what is the classification process and write the cone classifier. Then how the cyclone separators are working. So you have to write the working principle of the cyclone separator. Then draw the net sketch of jig, that means hydraulic jig, and explain its construction. You have to write that construction. Then again you have to draw the net sketch of drum separator for magnetic separation, that we already discussed here in this lecture. Then state the principle of flotation and working of flotation cell. So how the force flotation is working and their principle, working principle. So you have to write here. Then they explain in brief the construction and working of gravity settling tank. The next is one is the explain the rate classifier with the net sketch. And the last question is draw an electrostatic separator and explain its working. So submit this tutorial after completion in a Google Classroom. So this is the end of third chapter. Thank you.